does it provide a solution to the problem at hand, to the problem that they say they are attempting to solve, right? It doesn't. The answer is that it doesn't. Hello everyone, welcome back to Luis Discusses Everything, and in today's video we're going to discuss the problem with wokeness. So here's the deal. I am no Republican, I am no Democrat, I'm not aligned to either party. Full disclosure, I did vote for Bernie Sanders in both the 2020 election and 2016 election. I did not vote because I was in Puerto Rico. So I'm leaning more towards the progressive side of the spectrum. That's my political inclination, I guess you could say. But I do want to discuss a growing problem at least in the U.S. political spectrum, right? The image behind me, you see Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. Pelosi is the Speaker of the House, Chuck Schumer, the leader of the Senate. As of October 1st, 2022, that might change during these midterm elections. But anyway, the reason I show them was because this is during the events of the Black Lives Matter protests, right? Which were protests that, in my opinion, were warranted and sparked a lot of attention towards a prevalent issue in the United States. That's not the issue. The issue was that instead of actually implementing policy to solve the underlying issues that led to the death of George Floyd and to the overall death of multiple African Americans in the United States, and for this problem to perpetuate, they did something like this. They wore symbols like tribal symbols. They kneeled for X amount of minutes and did like a whole ceremony to kind of like commemorate the death of George Floyd. And that's all in good order, right? You can do that sort of symbolic gesture, but does it solve the underlying issue? Does it provide a solution to the problem at hand, to the problem that they say they are attempting to solve, right? It doesn't. The answer is that it doesn't. And that is the big reason why, or the big problem behind wokeness. And you can see that all across, right? Advertising from different companies where you see like during Pride Week, you all of a sudden see all companies being prideful and having the colors of the LGBTQ plus community and whatnot. And superficially, you can say, oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful that they are supporting the LGBTQ plus community, which I support myself. But then turn around and and treat your workers horribly, right? Like an example of which is Amazon and other companies, right? And that just leads us to believe that like wokeness can turn into a double-edged sword, right? It can be a source for political good, or it can motivate political correctness. But it can also devolve into virtual signaling, like what you saw in the aforementioned picture, right? You also have political figures which say that they are very much in favor of the change in policy that will bring about the change that you need, like the image behind me is an example of that, right? You have a Black Lives Matter logo, you have Yes She Can logo, which is from 2016, and you have the LGBTQ plus flag on a military plane that is still bombing a town. It's essentially saying like, hey, policy, like it's all good and dandy. We're being woke. We're being like, we're virtual signaling the fact that we support all of these progressive measures, but at the same time, we're still carrying out the same policies that caused the problems in the first place, right? So what are you exactly following or doing to address that? A very good example is the selection of Kamala Harris, right? As vice president. The sole reason she was selected was because of the color of her skin, the gender, and her cultural background, as opposed to her credentials as an elected official. Does she have the credentials to be the vice president of the United States, or does she, or is she just chosen for her cultural background? Right. You also see that in the figure of Pete Buttigieg, who is the current transportation secretary. During the summer, there was a horrendous backlog of cancellations in the airline industry in the United States and across North America. And Pete Buttigieg had little to nothing to do. He basically did very little to address the grave transportation issues, when he has full power and authority to do so, right? Again, you pick somebody because of their background or the virtual signaling that they could provide, and change nothing from the policy side. Again, I'm not saying that messages and images that favor those types of political movements, like the struggles of the African Americans in the United States, the struggle of all minorities in the United States, including the LGBTQ plus community, are valid, right? Their struggles are valid, and I support them. But if those if those images of support, if that virtue signaling is not accompanied by actual policy, then there is nothing in that message. There is nothing inherently positive in your protest or in your activism, right? And that is the problem with wokeness. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, share this video with your friends, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.